But I always like to start with dessert, so let's start off with number 10. It's never too late to fix something. In number 3, I'm gonna tell you what caused a huge spike in my channel, but this was the second biggest spike. It was actually changing titles and thumbnails even after a while had passed. So it's never really too late to get the ball going. And I'm not saying that as soon as I changed it, there was a boom. No, some worked, some didn't, but in the ones that it did have an increase over time, very slowly, I could see the difference until something major happened, and then that snowball effect started kicking in. And look, the reality is 3 to 6 months went by of me posting and posting and posting, not having a clue of what I was doing. I didn't even consume YouTube before I started creating for YouTube. And with that, we go to number 9. Editing matters. Yes, for sure, but it's not everything. It's not what's going to make or break your video. There are some of my very first videos where I recorded on my laptop using my laptop camera, edited very, amateurly through iMovie, where basically only a title would come up and I wouldn't even cut the scenes at the right time. Like, honestly, terrible editing, and that didn't stop the video from going viral. So that's definitely not the thing that's going to make it or break it, but obviously if you can enhance your video to make it something more watchable, well, that's obviously going to add, it's like the icing on top of the cake. And with that, we jump into number 8, because you might be thinking, well, that's weird because some of the channels I consume are super edited and that's why I watch them. That's why you think they're so successful. But the reality is there's not just one way to be successful. Let me explain. There's multiple right ways of doing YouTube. There's some very successful channels out there where they're not even showing a face. There's also another type of very successful channels out there where they're entertaining. And think about it this way. There are so many different ways to entertain every different type of person. Just think about how many channels used to be on cable TV. You had murder mysteries, you had romance, you had this, you had funny, you had sitcoms, you had so many thousands of channels, and all those channels had an audience for them. It's the same exact thing on YouTube. There's a wide range of things that people are looking for and people look to be entertained. My own personal way of doing it is by connecting, showing my face, and sharing my journey, but that doesn't mean that it's the only right way to do it. Along with that comes number 7, which is probably one of my most recent lessons learned on YouTube, and it's the fact that there are so many things that are underused. For example, the community tab. No one really talks about the power that the community tab has. And even now with something like YouTube Shorts, these are highly underused, and the power that they have in impacting your channel is tremendous. If you haven't already looked into the community tab, it's basically where you can share text in written forms, you can do polls, you can do videos, you can do moving images, and those posts actually show up in a wider audience than your own. It's a huge thing that you can definitely be using for leverage. And honestly, I'm right there with you. I had no idea about this a couple months ago. Lesson number 6 is going to get juicy because you know exactly who you are. If you are doing YouTube for the money, think again and be smart. I'm not saying that it's hard to make money on YouTube, no, but listen to what I learned. I actually have 2 channels that talk about the same exact thing. I mean, same topic, it's me, so it's the same person saying it, I'm saying it in the same exact way. The only difference between these 2 channels is the language, okay? The difference in AdSense is tremendous. I'm telling you, from $30 on a Spanish channel all the way to $250 on an English channel, okay? That is a very big difference. So if you're going into YouTube thinking about, yeah, I'm gonna do it for the money, think again, because yes, it's great to monetize, but if you're thinking only about monetizing through AdSense, then maybe you should take a look at the monetization ladder, where I explain exactly all the different ways you can monetize through a YouTube channel, even from your first day on it. Trust me, the AdSense is like a cherry on top. And running straight to number 5 is a lesson I learned probably along my first year and in the different consultations that I had with people that were wanting to start their YouTube channel. YouTube, at first, you have to think of it as you doing it for you. Most of the people that I talked to that were getting on YouTube, they're like, of course I can record on camera. Like, I know what I'm talking about. I can go on and I can post videos. What happens? After the 8th, 9th video into their 3rd month, they stopped doing it because they thought they were going to get other types of results. That's usually the case because with YouTube, it takes time to grow an audience. It takes time to get your foot through the door. But once you get your foot through the door, bam, you have the opportunity to slam it open. But it means that you have already passed the first part of the stage where you're doing it for you. If no one's watching, you're still doing it for you, and you're posting and posting because you're gaining that discipline and you're building up that consistency to get to stage number 2, which is, okay, I have an audience. I have people that either want to be entertained, want to learn from my channel. We are creating a community together. Then I'm doing it for them. But at first, it's all you, only you versus you. That's going to get you to show up week after week after week after week, even when no one's watching. And that's probably the lesson that so many people don't realize, and then they don't know until they get in the game and they're expecting something different, and then they just stop there. But that's not gonna be you, because luckily you already know, just like you know, number 4, which is the difference between searchable on YouTube and suggested. Learning this completely blew my mind. Basically, just because you're successful on YouTube doesn't mean you know how to do these 2 correctly. There are people that are super successful in recommended style, so suggested. Basically, their videos are more of like that clickbait style, and then they grab the audience while they're already in there, versus searchable. Searchable is I'm giving the person the answer. And if you look throughout my whole channel, most of my videos and the ones that thrived and really went viral were those searchable videos. I got that down really quickly when I started implementing what I'm gonna tell you in lesson number 3. But the thing is that it's not only about searchable, I also wanna be able to nail the suggested videos. These are 2 different ballparks, but it's really important that you understand which one you're playing for, which team you're going for, nail that down, and then if you want, try to stick your foot in another one if that's what you want. If not, continue going hard on either one of these 2. A drum roll for lesson number 3, the lesson that caused the biggest spike in my channel. It was using the tools that were already out there. Maybe you're like me, and when I started, I was like, I'm not using any extra tools. That's spammy. What if it creates like a shadow ban effect? No thanks. I am doing this my way by myself. Boy, was I wrong. I just had no idea. So the first tool I started using was TubeBuddy. And the day that I started using it, my mind was literally blown. Everything that I was doing for 3 to 6 months on my own, just kind of guessing with this tool, bam, I automatically knew how to position it so I could rank faster in that searchability. Remember the 2 games I was playing for searchability? Well, I could literally know what my score was going to be before going up to hit that ball. That's exactly what this tool was like. Not only that, as the months went by, as the year went by, I started using more and more tools on that same exact application. A/B testing, which thumbnail grabs the attention of another person. Even bulk editing when you have to change a link that's no longer working because before you were sending traffic here, now you don't want to send traffic there. It's all these little tiny things that I just had no idea about, and TubeBuddy completely changed that game for me. Of course, there are thousands of tools out there, and I'm not saying to use them all. Do a lot of research on which one you're going to use. Make sure that it is nothing spammy, that they're not promising you some incredible growth that's just not going to happen, but a tool that is going to give you a lot more leverage than you just kind of doing it by yourself. It's like you're going up to hit the bat with your eyes completely covered. Now, to a lesson that I learned the hard way. Stop waiting until it's perfect. I promise you, there are going to be spelling mistakes that you catch after like the 4th revision when you're already like just hit the posted button, and then you're gonna wanna take it down and then do it again. It's not going to be perfect. If you try to make everything perfect, you're going to be hit by roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. Trying to find the perfect equipment is not an excuse for not getting it done. And with that, my friends, we have arrived at lesson number 1 of this 10-step journey. Now, before we get into number 1, go ahead, comment down below which of the 10 lessons has been your favorite, which one did you know from before, and which one are you like, thank God I know that now, okay? So, number 1, here we go. Analytics are everything in life. I personally track returning number of subscribers, so I know a lot of you out there are coming back, yet you're not subscribed. So hit that subscribe button because I'm literally watching you. That's the first metric that I track. And the second metric is the percentage of view duration from each video. It's great to calculate exactly the time in each video, but looking at the percentage makes it a lot easier to compare whether it's a long video or a shorter video. I still wanna make sure that the percentage is as high as possible. My goal is 60, 70, and of course above that. Now, here's a little bonus lesson for you. That doesn't necessarily mean that those are the best analytics that you should be tracking. Those are the ones I picked for me because my goal is a community that comes back, that's interested in what I'm sharing week after week. But for you, it could be number of subscribers, it could be monetization, it can be so many things. But the lesson is picking it, tracking it, and knowing what you're doing to increase and increment that number week after week. And a little hint, if you're not sure which ones, I recommend starting with your click-through rate, which is actually the percentage of people clicking on your video. This shows you how good those thumbnails are because your video inside can be amazing. But if you have a thumbnail that nobody's clicking on, well, no one's actually going to see that great juicy video. And another great one is looking at the percentage that YouTube is recommending your videos. This normally means that it's a healthy video, that YouTube is liking what you're bringing to the audience. So that's a really, really good metric to track. And who said lesson number 11 wasn't going to be thrown in there? Let's throw it in there. Honestly, I think YouTube isn't for everybody. And that's something that I had to learn the hard way because I wanted everyone to get on YouTube after seeing the impact it had on my business, after literally it turning me from a non-consumer to a creator, someone that's obsessed with it, and someone that literally just loves the platform inside and out. But the cold hard truth is that it's not for everyone, and that's okay. But if it is for you and you're in that stage of testing and trying and doing it for yourself, investigate and go ahead and crack the code in your own way because the benefit that can be brought from it is far greater. And this is coming from someone who's been creating for 2 years. So imagine the longer the time passes. And of course, with those 2 years also came learning exactly how to structure that video for that percentage to go up in each video each time. So that video is right here because yes, you're creating and creating, but what's the point if you don't know how to structure your video correctly for the majority of people to watch it all the way through? Go check it out. And as always, I'll see you right back on this same exact channel next week for even more videos. Bye bye, guys.
We about to make it happen.